Again, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. What's today? Today, Wednesday? I think so. I think it's hump day. Let's get a big old hump day out there. Hump day. All right, guys, we are live. We are officially up and running over on TikTok. We are live on YouTube as well. So before we dive into it, ladies and gentlemen, hit me with a good morning. If you want, hit me with a big old hump day as well. And we are going to dive into it, guys. Talk about what we have for the day in the markets, where the best trades are at, how we're looking to make some money, and again, get you guys prepared. So just bear with me a little bit today. I am really under the weather today, like big time. Running on like a couple hours of sleep too, so I'm a little foggy. I'm a little exhausted right now. So if you're like, Josh, you're not your little energetic self, I know. Again, pretty tired, guys. Not gonna lie. Couple hours of sleep under the weather, but we're gonna push through it. We're still gonna have some fun here. We're gonna get you guys prepared for the trading session, and we'll talk about what we got going on. And I think today's a good day. Why? Because I'm sick, and when I'm sick, I usually have really good days in the market. So hey, maybe I should just be sick more often, because I tend to have really solid days when I'm sick. It's weird. Hit me with a good morning, and then we'll dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. Who's on YouTube? Where are you guys tuning in from right now? And then over on the Tickety Talkity. All right. Let's get it. Who's up in YouTube? Tom, what's up, man? Good morning. PC, good morning, no Zoom. What you talking about, PC? Zooms start at 9. If you are a mentorship student, those Zooms are up at 9. All right, guys. So from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we're live on TikTok and YouTube. From 9 to about 11:30, we are live in the Zooms. Zooms are open for you guys. So if you're like, I don't really need the rundown, Josh, I am good. Get into the Zooms, talk to some other traders, get prepared for the day, and have some fun, man. Who else we got over on TikTok? Hit me with a good morning. Where are you guys tuning in from right now? How's the weather outside? Is it snowing? Is it rainy? Is it sunshiny, beautiful right now? Woo, it's nasty outside. We got a lot of people here. All right. Everybody's starting to come on in. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Let everybody tune in, and we're going to go right to the SPY Daily. We are going to find the key levels that we want to day trade off of today. So we're going to go through it, find those key levels, get you guys prepared, and you guys will have some actionable stuff for the day. So if you guys are looking to day trade the SPY, the Qs, IWM, you guys will have some plans. We'll take a look at some other stocks as well. And if we have anything, looking good, I'll definitely break it down. I'll put my name behind it. And yeah, we'll see what we have, guys. These are trades that I'll take as well. So anything that I give you, these are trades and opportunities that I will put money behind myself. I will take risk. So I'm not just giving you some BS, breakdown and like best of luck. These are actionable trade plans that I will execute myself if they play out during the market. If you give me a stock, I look at it and I don't like it, I'll tell you straight up, I don't like it. I'm not putting my name behind it. All right. Do I trade penny stocks? I used to. I built my trading career in the beginning trading penny stocks. Now I primarily trade options and futures with the occasional small cap. If we got penny stock hyped up and moving well, you may see me trade a penny stock. I think last small cap penny I traded was GME. Back in like July was like the last time I traded a penny stock. And go ahead and get the judgment out of the way if you guys want. Like, Josh, why are you rocking a pink coffee cup? Why does it say, I'm a hustler, baby? Because I'm a hustler, baby. And I ran out of coffee cups this morning, so that's why. So I'll get the judgment out of the way. Go ahead and laugh. Ha ha, pink cup, pink cup. Take me back to high school and everybody was immature. No, I'm kidding. All right. let's go ahead and dive right into. It's cold. Yeah, man. It's like 40 degrees and rainy down here in Florida. It is cold. It looks white to you. It's definitely hot pink. I wouldn't say it's hot pink. It's a light pink, but it's definitely pink, and it's got gold. I'm a hustler baby on it. So, ha. All right, let's dive into it. We're on the SPY Daily right now, and the goal is to go find key significant zones. Key significant zones. All right, so first area that's starting to really stand out to me is going to be this region here on the SPY, and I'll break down why. All right. So if you're like, okay, Josh, you found a zone, but why is it a good zone today? Well, I explain it. Okay. Number one, we have multiple touch points, right? So we have nice little low day bounce, high day rejection, but look at the sharp move away from that level. Another high day rejection. Look at the sharp move away from that level. And then what do you notice on this green candle from December 16th? What do you notice? We push on up, right? Hit a high day up around 607.77. Sellers step in, drive it back down to like 606.82, followed by a gap down the next day, right? So sellers push price back down so aggressively that it caused price to gap down on December 17th. And then you see sellers really step in here on December 18th. So I like the gap down on day 2 after we rejected for like the 4th or 5th time off that zone. So here's a key zone that I'm going to be focused on today. It's between 606.81 to 607.17, right? I believe that this is a key level that if we get to today, and if we don't break above it, we could see price move, and we want to get short off that zone. All right, that's just one zone. I want to find at least 3 to 5 key significant zones. That's the goal. 3 to 5 key significant zones that we can trade off of today, right? Next zone that's really starting to stand out to me, right? It's going to be right here between 602.49 to 602.91. Okay. So again, that's 602.49 to 602.91. That's another pretty solid zone. And now there's a lot of open space between these zones, right? You got that 602 zone, you got this 607 zone, right? So there's like a $5 window in between these zones, right? Are there any other key significant zones in this region? That's the goal. If not, there's no key zones in between. We got to wait for one of these zones to hit to take a trade. But if we can find zones in this region, hey, let's keep building it out. So do we have anything else that's standing out? I would say there's probably going to be one more light zone, right? Light zone. And I'm going to throw it right here between 604.98 to 605.22. So let's readjust it. Actually, it's not. I retract what I just said. We're going to readjust it. Officially 604.96 to 605.22. Why does that zone stand out to me? All right, gap up low a day, nice push into all-time highs. We get a lot of chop off that zone in this region here on the daily. So one thing I recommend is you drill this down into like a 5-minute time frame, and you see how did the stock move off that zone on a lower time frame. Did we like crack it, retest it? Did we see nice intraday moves off of it? If so, we further validate the zone. It's a higher probability zone. If not, then it's a light zone. Right now it's a light zone because you only have 1, 2, 3 touch points. If we can go down to a 5-minute and we see that zone was respected very nice, it's going to be a higher probability zone, right? Another reason I like it was the gap down high a day. So after we had that little rejection on December 16th, followed by the gap down, that was the gap down high a day. And the day 3, we really just dumped hard to the downside there on the SPY. So I think this gives us some pretty decent levels to run with. I mean, SPY closed yesterday at 603. We could see in pre-market we're at 606. So we got some nice lower zones. We need one more to the upside. All right, we're going to need to find one more key zone to the upside, and that's an easy one. That's going to be right here between 607.71 to 607.88. Okay, so I found all of my key significant zones from a daily time frame. That's how I start my morning on any stock. SPY Qs, ES, NQ, NVIDIA, doesn't matter. Penny stocks, doesn't matter. Top-down analysis. Start on the larger time frames. You want to go up to a monthly? Go to a monthly. Want to go to a weekly? That's fine. For day trades, I tend to stick on a daily and work my way down from there. If I'm looking at swing trades, I'll definitely analyze a larger time frame like a weekly or a monthly. But again, for day trades, daily time frame down to a 4-hour, a 1 hour, and then go from there. So what do we need to do next, right? What's the next thing we need to do? We need to further validate one of these zones. What was the zone that we need to further validate here? That's going to be this zone right here, this big red zone. We need to further validate it on a lower time frame because we have few touch points on the daily. So compare that red zone that has like 4 touch points to some of these other zones where we have like 6 touch points. Here we have like 7 with some sharp moves away from it. We could already see on the daily that these zones are much more significant than that red zone. Okay, so how do we make sure that it's not a light zone, that it's a significant zone? Take it to a 5-minute, and let's see how we moved on a lower time frame these days off that zone. So let's do it. Flip it to a 5. All right, now let's go look left, and we're going to go back and see how we moved off that zone on a lower time frame. Okay, so I like this. I like this. You see how at one point we were grinding above that zone of support. So we have a little bit more validation to add to it. Not a lot, but a little bit. Okay, here we go. Nice little high day rejection. We came up to the zone. Tap, tap, tap. We fell. All of that pre-market support. So we grinded that level as pre-market support on December 17th and then got below it, stayed below it as resistance the rest of the day. That helps us further validate it. There was a little hiccup candle at that zone. I like those little hiccups. So we have this strong downtrend, followed by a period of consolidation, followed by more downside. We leave those little order blocks or hiccup candles. That was formed at that zone. That increases it a little bit here as well. Before we had a new low a day on December 12th, you see how we came down and grinded that level on a 5-minute time frame that day. That further validates the zone. So you guys see what I'm doing right now? Does this make sense? How I see this zone on the daily, and I'm like, it's got like 3 or 4 touch points. It's a low significant zone. But how do I get to the point where I think it's a high significant zone, like a higher probability zone? I want to take it down to a 5-minute and look at intraday movement around the zone. If I don't have good movement, it's still a low probability zone. If I see a lot of good movement on a lower time frame, I can increase the significance of that zone. And so that's what we've done here. It's a pretty nice zone. And then check this out in pre-market today. It's no coincidence that these zones are respected, guys. It's no coincidence. These zones are respected 70-80% of the time. We get above it. We hold it as support. Now we're pushing higher in pre-market. Why in the world is that zone being respected? Well, been doing this for 10 years. And I found a really unique methodology to finding key areas that are respected with like 70 to 80% accuracy. And we're going to day trade off these levels. All right. So that's what we got on the SPY. Those are some of the most significant zones for today. And so now that red zone, we know it's still going to be a nice zone. And that's going to be our LITS, or LITS. That's a make or break, right? Because if we get back below that zone, stay below it, I'm going to get short down to the 602 zone. All right. But if we see the SPY open, pull back to the 605 zone and hold it, I'm going to get long to 607 on the SPY. So if we see something setting up off that middle zone around 605, I'm going to take a trade off that zone. Now, someone's probably thinking, Josh, you're going to get long, you're going to get short. No one knows. No one knows, right? You don't know if the SPY is going to come down and hold it and validate it long. You don't know if the SPY is going to crack below it with force, stay below it for a short. You don't know until you see it happening. So until we see in real time something happening, we don't know what side of the trade we want to get on. No one knows. So for the traders that tell you and teach you to set a bias, stop listening to them. Okay, they're setting you up for failure. Stop setting a bias. The bias will destroy you. All right, so that's what we want to see is the SPY come down into the zone, and then one of two things happen. Either A, we stay above it with good price action, we play it long, or B, we get below it, stay below it, we play it short. All right, if we come up to this 606.81 to 607.17 zone, next level. If we stay below it, can't break it, I'll get short back down to 605. If we break that zone and hold it, I'm not going to play it long because it's limited to the upside. You see how tight those two zones are? It's very limited to the upside. So even if we break that 607 zone and hold it, like what do we got to the upside? 80 cents? It's not worth my time. But if we come up into the zone and top out and fail to break it and there's a short, then at least we know we have about 2 points of potential downside. Thank you. Finally, someone explains good. Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I've been trading for 10 years. I've been coaching for 5 years. Over that time, I've coached well over 1,000 traders within my program. I mean, probably thousands and thousands of traders just on social media and TikTok. I mean, we're up there, guys. So I've been coaching longer than 90% of TikTok traders have been trading. And again, I've been, trading myself for 10 years. So glad that it's making sense, brother. All right. So that's what we got on the SPY for the day. Okay. Let's move on to our next, which is going to be QQQ here. And let's see what we got on the Qs. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and just let me know. If I miss it, repost it. Since I'm focused on the charts right now, maybe I've missed a comment or a message, just repost it, get my attention, and I will answer it. All right. You guys see that Josh Howerton account that just joined? It's a fake account. So if people start following you, it's not me. People start reaching out with DMs, it's not me. Always check the username. I'm the real Josh Howerton. There's a lot of scammers out there that are taking advantage of traders, even in our free Discord. Right? So that account that just joined, it's not me. It's a fake account. So if they try and send you a DM, dude, it's not me. Send me a DM first and I'll get back to you. Right? We could always jump on a call as well, so you know it's me. All right. Let's dive into the Qs here. Going to do the same thing, top-down analysis, guys, but we're going to speed through it. This is the speed round. Okay, you guys understand my methodology to finding the zones. I explained it on the SPY. Same approach on the Qs. All right, now we're just going to find the zones. So let's see where we're at. We're at like 5:30 in pre-market, so we're like way up here. I want to start finding some zones up in this region. Here's a nice zone right there. All right, so that zone here is between 530.65 to 531.32. I think that's a solid zone. I like that a lot. That's a good one. Honestly, we're probably going to make that a line in the sand because I like that zone on the daily. That's our lits. That's a nice make or break. All right, cool. And then if we get above that zone, we're starting to get pretty limited to the upside here. Like, what all do we have to find key levels? Not a lot. We got like 4 days worth of data. So it's like we don't have a lot of days worth of data to find zones, like at these all-time highs. So it's going to be pretty limited as far as, key zones to the upside. All right, but look at all this. We got like months worth of data. We can find key zones, but we got like 4 days worth of data here. It's going to be harder to find a key zone. All right, most zones won't be key insignificant as you're nearing all-time highs. So you got to tread lightly with those. All right, but if I were to give you guys one more zone, I'm going to put it right here between 533.03 to 533.21. That's the next zone to the upside. Now let's go find some lower zones here if we have any, which we will. And we're just looking at sharp moves away from zones. Realistically, sharp moves away from key zones. So here's another one where we have some pretty sharp moves away. That zone stands out. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's really tighten that zone up. Make sure we connect the dots. And we finally have a zone between 525.96 to 526.38. You guys see that? We come up into that zone. We tap it 2 days back to back. We drop. We get above it here on December 11th. Retest it on December 12th. Big push to all-time highs. Big push. You see how we gapped up the next day and continued to gap up into all-time highs? That's a very nice level here. Nice, big, significant move away from that zone. You see how we come down and bounce at a low a day off that zone? There's another touch point. You see how we gap down below it, hit it as a high a day, and then flush, followed by another gap down? That's a nice zone. We come back up to it here, tap it, can't break above it. Nice big drop to the downside. And you see how we ran up into that level yesterday and hit it as a high a day? You could have taken a short off that zone yesterday because that was a zone valid for even yesterday. If we remove yesterday's candle, right, that's still a valid zone. So you could have had that zone yesterday, right? And would you have seen a short off of it? Came up into it, tapped it, nice little intraday scalp off that zone. So that's a key zone. So let's go ahead and take it out of replay. Those are like the 3 zones that I'm going to focus on the Qs. Those are the top 3, guys. All right. So what do we see with the Qs? Post market, we break it, hold it to support. We're pushing higher. Where's the next zone where we could take a trade? It's going to be the LITS, the LITS, between 530.65 to 531.32. That is our make or break for today, guys. If we break that zone and hold it, get long to 533. That's what I'm going to do. If we come up into that zone and we fail to break it, I'm going to get short back down to 527.70 and then the 526 zone. Okay, so if we see the short set up and I get puts off that zone, for example, if we don't break it, my first target to the short side is 527.7, right? And the main target, that 526 zone, you're on the Qs. How's IWM looking today? IWM is it's below yesterday's high today. I haven't really been enjoying the moves of IWM lately. So if you guys don't want to analyze IWM, let's go ahead and start looking at your stocks for the day, because I haven't really liked IWM these past month or so. Let's review your stocks now, guys. And if you guys like the stream, let's get the likes up too. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the shares going. If you guys are over on YouTube, definitely like it as well. Leave some comments. It helps the algorithm. Promote it. Push it. Same thing on TikTok. Helps the algorithm. So help support me like I support you. I mean, I've been doing this for 4.5, 5 years on TikTok for free. I show up pretty much every day during the week. I basically just coach you guys for free. And most of the time, traders say, where have I found you my whole life? Where have you been? I never knew you existed. So, hey, you can definitely help support me and help support other traders that are going to gain tremendous value from these streams and learn how to trade like a professional. The least you guys can do is like it up and share it. It means a lot. Go ahead. I sent you a DM in TikTok. I sent you a DM in TikTok. So go ahead and join the free community. Get inside the Discord. I'll update your role. Get you access. And you'll be set for today. Okay, boss? All right, next stock. Next stock. What are we looking at? Tom, anything? PC over on YouTube, anything? Who's over on the Discord? Nobody. Weird. Next stock that we're going to analyze. Who came in first? What's your opinion on Netflix? January 31 put options. Netflix, was that the first one? David James, what's up? Let's go. Doge. We got Apple. I want to start with the one I saw first. First one I saw was Apple. All right, let's go look at Apple. Okay, so do you guys remember the analysis I gave you yesterday? Who was here yesterday? Raise your hand inside of the chat in TikTok and YouTube. Just raise your hand. Were you guys here yesterday? Did you hear the Apple breakdown? Because if you were here yesterday and you heard the Apple breakdown, I gave you a key zone down between 219.68 to 220.32. Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up. All right. Do you guys remember the Apple breakdown? Key zone 219.68 to 220.32. If we come down, hold it, we take a trade long off that level. What did Apple do? Came down, held that level, pushed up. You could have taken a day trade and got like 2 points to the upside out of that. So I just want to like showcase this, like how important it is to find the zones. Okay, like not just get the zones from me. Like it's great to start off, but learn how to find these zones on your own. Again, these zones are respected 70, 80% of the time, and it's simple. Start on a daily, find the zones. Step 1, step 2, let the market open. Step 3, wait for the stock to get to a zone. Step 4, read price action. Step 5, take trade. Like, it's that simple. 5 steps, and you could be a good trader. If you would have just waited for Apple to come down to that zone yesterday, you would have noticed there was very good price action. You could have gotten long off that zone, putting stops below it. And again, you would have had a nice little 3-to-1 risk-reward trade. Nice little profitable trade off a daily zone. So again, just really stressing the importance of learning the skill set to find these key zones and wait for the market to get there and start just taking trades off zones. Just wait to take the trades off the zones, and you're going to start to notice you're taking fewer losers. You have more winners. Your winners are bigger than the losers. You start to become profitable. That's what you guys want, to become profitable. Apple, that's still a pretty key zone. That's going to be our line in the sand for today on Apple. If we come back into it and hold it again, I would look to get long. Where to? Probably like yesterday's close. I would say yesterday's close on Apple. So let's go ahead and mark that back up, yesterday's close. We got our key daily level that we just discussed. And there's a little gap right here on Apple that could get filled. And this gap is sitting right above some daily demand. So that's going to be the next key level to the downside here on Apple. All right, so line in the sand. Your make or break level for today on Apple is 219.68 to 220.32. Resistance, first light level of resistance, yesterday's close at 222.64. Lowest level of support today, and this is another key support level. There's 3 reasons. I'll explain it. That's down at 216.90 to 219.54. Why is it a key level? Number 1, it's a gap level. We could fill the gap and see a bounce. Number 2, that's right where the 200 SMA is sitting. Number 3, it's right above daily demand. That's a very key level. That's like an 8. So if I were to give this a rating, that zone a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like an 8 to a 9. It's that significant. We come down into that zone, I definitely get long off that zone. But that's if we come down into it, right? So where are we at on a 5-minute? Where are we at on a 5-minute? We are having a hard time getting back above yesterday's close in pre-market. We're trying, falling back below it. We're trying, falling back below it. That's going to be a key level of resistance. I wouldn't get short off that level. It's just a reference. Like if we get long, that's a target, but that's not a short level, in my opinion. So 2 game plans. Go ahead and take note of this. You got 2 trade ideas, 2 trade plans on Apple. Trade plan number 1, we come down into this key daily zone again and hold it like we came down and held it yesterday. If we see something similar, we're going to get long on Apple up to 222.64. That is game plan number 1 on Apple. All right, but to the flip side, what if Apple comes down and we crack below that zone? Wait for it to retest. If we see a proper retest, you can get short off that 220 zone and play puts down to that 217 zone. Okay? That's trade plan number 2. And what's trade plan number 3? That's getting long off that lower zone. So if we see the crack, and let's say we don't get a retest to play it short, wait for it to come down to that 217 zone. And if we see good price action, you can get long off that 217 zone back up to 220. So basically, if we see Apple come down into that lower zone and have good price action at it, like we saw Apple yesterday off this zone, that's going to validate, get long, play calls up to that 220 zone, and you could put stops right below that 217 zone. So you can already see it's going to be very, very low risk, high reward. I mean, this is what a plan would look like here on Apple. Getting in at the zone, if we have good price action, targeting the next zone, and putting stops right below, right, that key zone. So stops would be below it. Entries, let's just call it right in the middle. Target, next zone of resistance. You're pushing a 5-to-1 risk reward, guys. Right? So if you get positioned to lose, let's say $200 on this trade, how much potential do you have to make? You have potential to make $1,000 on that trade. Let's say your risk, $200 is too much for your account. Let's say you can only risk $50. You still have potential to make $250 because this is a 5-to-1 risk reward. All right, so I like it. Looks good. And you had a very similar plan built yesterday off that top zone on Apple. So let it come down to that zone. Let's see if we have good price action. If so, you can play it long, back up to like 220. So Apple looks good. That's going to the top of the list, guys. Top of the list for Apple. Looks sexy. All right, what's next? We got 10 more minutes. What's next? I like YouTube better. Yeah, man. Come over to YouTube. Make sure you're on YouTube. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, YouTube. All right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9 on YouTube. Free stream, getting you guys prepared for the day. Disney, it never came. It's still got to come down to our zone on Disney. So nothing's changed with Disney. We talked about this yesterday in the group. I would still say nothing's changed from yesterday. Plan still intact. If we get down into that 104 level, we had a pretty nice pop yesterday. This trade may not come down to our zone ahead of earnings. So it may be something that, just does not come down into our level into earnings, right? But could we come up into some light daily supply ahead of earnings? We could come into some light daily supply ahead of earnings. That's a pretty damn big zone. So we want to drill that down into a 4-hour time frame and see if there's anything we notice on a 4-hour, and then, see if we have some overlap. Yeah, I mean, you can tighten it up at 112, but it's such a light level. I don't know if I would want to get short into earnings. Let's talk about Disney more today. Let's analyze it further. Let's get some engagement from everybody inside of the group and see what other people are thinking as well. But I'm still pretty stuck on my long plan. If we get down to that 104 ahead of earnings, into that daily uptrend, into that daily fib level, I think that 104 area is a great area to get long. But right now, with the overall market moving higher and Disney having a pretty nice day to the upside, that may not happen, unfortunately. That may not happen, but that's okay because we still have XLE on high watch, Halliburton on high watch. INTC is still something I want to watch as well for a potential swing trade today. So that has some good potential on INTC. But Disney, unfortunately, may not get to that level ahead of earnings, but the technicals are still intact. Woodsy, what up? Tim, I'll get you access. Tesla, last one, man. Tesla is going to be the last one before I end the session and I go exclusive with our students. I trade with my students every day when the market's open. So at 9 o'clock, I end it, and I'm going to start getting them prepared for the day. Here's the thing at first glance. I'm not really crazy like how Tesla is sitting these past, a few days. More than a few days, couple of weeks. I just don't like this daily price action in this region. So, I mean, the daily doesn't stand out, and I really want the daily to stand out to me if I'm going to take any kind of trades. But let's just go ahead and break this down, and let's see if we have anything on Tesla, man. So here's going to be a nice zone on Tesla to focus on for today. That's between 415.47 to 417.58. You see all those daily points? A little tap, tap, explosive move to the upside. A little tap, tap, explosive move to the upside. We fall below it. We start retesting it as resistance here. But then you see how it kind of gets messy around that zone. The last week, it gets messy. How do you further validate this daily zone when you don't get touch points on a daily? For those of you that have been listening, taking notes, what do we talk about? Right, we find a daily zone, but let's say it's low significance. Let's say it's just not that significant of a zone. How do we increase the significance? What do we do? When we have daily candles that are just going through that zone with no valid point, what do we do to further validate the zone? You guys remember? What do we do? Make sure you guys go join the free community as well. We still have a couple seats open for the free community. Links in my profile. All right, so make sure you guys do that. Lower the time frame. Exactly, lower the time frame. Let's go look at that zone. We're looking at this blue zone right here between 415.47 to 417.58. That's that zone right here. So let's go look at it. Did we respect the zone yesterday? Yes, we did. Look at that zone respected. You fall below it. You held below it as resistance. You broke back above it, held it as support. You pushed. You see those nice intraday moves off that zone. Yeah, it looks good. Look at yesterday's daily candle. You don't get any validation on yesterday's daily candle to validate that zone. But when you go to a 5-minute time frame, look at how well that zone was respected. as resistance, got back above it, held it as support with a nice big what? Push off that zone. So that further validates that zone just yesterday. We grinded that zone as all this pre-market support. Look at that. Validating the zone. Come up into it, get rejected, break above it, hold it, push into a new high a day. We see a crackback lower high drop off that zone. So we broke it, crack back below it, lower high drop. Nice little move off that zone on a 5-minute. Yep, we further validated that zone, guys. I only needed to go back like 4 days to feel very convicted that that's a key zone. That's going to be our LITS, L-I-T-S, for the day between 415.47 to 417.58. That's a key level. That's a make or break. You hold it, you get long. You fall below it, stay below it, you get short. Where do we play it long back to? I would say, realistically, yesterday's close would be our target to the long side. Where's going to be our target to the short side if we see this setting up short? It's going to be right here. It's a tight zone, too. Target to the downside is going to be this zone between 409.14 to 409.93. Let me give it to you again. Lower level of light support, it's a target, 409.14 to 409.39. Top zone of light resistance, it's a target, 423.99. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not. It's yesterday's close at 424.07. So 424.07. What's our level that we're looking to actively trade off of? It's that mid zone between 415.47 to 417.58. That's our zone that we're looking to actually take a trade off of. Okay? So let's go build a couple plans. Plan number 1, Tesla opens. We hold this zone as support. We get long and play calls up to our target, 424.07. If Tesla opens and we fall below that zone, retest it as resistance, like we saw yesterday. We get below it, stay below it. That's where we get short and play puts down to that 409 zone. So that's your 2 plans on Tesla. So what's your next step? Wait for the market to open at 9:30 and wait to see what Tesla does. Is Tesla holding that level of support? If so, get long to 424. Is Tesla falling below that zone and retesting it? If so, get short down to that 409 zone. So I like Tesla off that zone. It looks pretty good. Tesla, let's put that on the list for the day as well. And that wraps it up, guys. That's all I got for you today. All right, so it's almost 9 o'clock. I'm going to be ending the stream on YouTube. I'm going to be ending the stream over on TikTok as well. But next steps for you guys, if you want to learn how to trade and take this a little bit more seriously and sharpen the skills, here's what I recommend you guys do. Right? If you haven't done so yet, join the free community. Right? When we hit like 200 free members, I'm going to close it down. So we got like 30 seats left. So go click the link in my profile on TikTok. So if you go to TikTok, right, and you go to my profile, there's a link tree linked in my profile. Click that. Where it says join free community, click that. Scroll down. You guys can join the free community. Why should you join? Well, number 1, it's free. So, I mean, there's literally no risk. Number 2, we hook you guys up with support from me, other students. I mean, just coaches alone, combined 50 years of experience. We got a lot of experience. So veteran traders that have been in the market for a long time. I've been trading for 10 years, coaching for 5. I'm here to help you guys. I want to support you. You guys got questions, I'm going to answer those for you. Okay? What else? Free education. I mean, there's probably like 10 to 15 different like awesome trainings that I give you guys for free. So that's another reason. Tons of free resources, all the education you can think. There's a lot of good stuff here. So again, support, education. I put together live events as well, exclusive for people that are in the Discord. So make sure you guys go join the free community. There's like no risk on your part. If anything, you're going to learn how to be a better trader. You're going to learn how to start making some money in the markets. And that's that. So that's your next step, guys. Come join and come have some fun. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, All right. Happy, safe trading. I'll see you back here on TikTok and YouTube this Friday at 8 a.m. And we're going to do this again. So I give you guys basically my plans, and I just give it to you on a silver platter. So I give you guys the SPY and the Qs for today, and we got Apple and Tesla plans. So you have 4 stocks that look good for today, 4 stocks that I'm putting my name behind, 4 stocks that I will actively trade off these plans that I gave you. All right, so take it, learn from this, implement this, apply this, and start to actually make money in the market, guys. That's why you're here. You want to learn how to make money, right? But don't focus on making money. That's the last thing I'll say, right? Take good trades, great trades, manage your emotions, stay disciplined, okay? Money's a byproduct of being a good trader. So focus on being a good trader, and then the money's just going to come, okay? But you guys are all set for the day. Happy, safe trading. Stay blessed, and I'll see you back here Friday over on YouTube and TikTok as well. Peace out, guys. I'll see you then.